break. I'm gonna eat a bit of chocolate before I continue. Oof. Ugh. I'm still on break, technically. I mean, I'm just eating a piece of chocolate. Okay. Just a couple more moments. And I'll be back soon. Do 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 do. Okay. Rosa could be seen in the parlor. The relatives have all apparently wanted to be alone after dispersing for a short break. Since everyone avoided the parlor, the one place where everyone would normally gather, Rosa was able to have this relaxing and comforting room all to herself. That didn't mean she looked relaxed. Her expression was heavy with gloom and weariness. The cup of black tea that she had bought from the dining hall had gone cold. A pleasant silence. Now that no one was in sight, Rosa's heart finally awoke. She was always treated like a kid in the conferences with her 3 siblings. She had no influence at all, but possibly because of that, she was apparently considered to be a neutral party. The siblings would often ask for her agreement and sometimes even treat her like a referee or a judge. I have to make use of that and turn the discussion in the direction I want. Oops. I have to find almost 100 million yen by March. That was supposed to be my great commitment and a burden I bore to help support that man's business. Rosa. Now I'm not sure anymore. If I can pay out my debt, will he call me again? Don't make me laugh. Even if you do contact me after all this time, I'll be the one to refuse. But still, you're Maria's father. Please come and see her. If only just once. Love is quite a difficult thing to stick to, isn't it? Huh? Who? Though no one should have been in the parlor, someone suddenly spoke to Rosa and she jumped. Just when did he get there? Kano could be seen standing there, even considering that she had been deep in thought to think that she hadn't noticed him at all. You startled me. Sorry, I guess I was thinking so hard that I didn't notice you. Do you need something? No. The reason you're currently in pain is because of love, Rose. No, the reason you're currently in pain is because of love, Rosa. Am I wrong? That's sudden. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maria's father wanted you to be the co-signer on a loan, and you accepted, Rosa. What a troublesome kid. You were listening to Kraus from the hallway, weren't you? True, earlier in this day, in this very room, Kraus had seen through the fact that Rosa was bearing a massive debt because she had become a co-signer on a loan. However, he had said that her partner had been Maria's father. Why did Kano know so much? You are a very wise person, Rosa. You wouldn't have become a co-signer without thinking carefully about the consequences. I hadn't yet moved to his family register, but I thought the man I would soon marry as my partner, if he couldn't borrow the money without my name, I figured that helping him out was my responsibility as his future wife. And did that future ever come? No, it hadn't. So afterwards, Rosa was always alone, and Maria never had a father. However, time moved on. Nothing changed except that Maria, who should have been a symbol of their union, just kept growing like a living hourglass, measuring the length of the hell that Rosa had crawled through. Because of that, Maria's growth hurt. It's ironic. I tried to forget that man several times, but forgetting him doesn't get rid of that debt. It's only natural. That's why she had to forget her love and do all she can to pay that money back. But I also think of it this way. If I can manage to pay everything off, it'll mean I passed the trial of love that he gave me. I'll have to pay off my debt anyway, so how can I abandon my reward, the love I'll gain as a result, before it's over? Is it really so wrong to put off thinking about that until after I've paid my debts? It may have been a trick of words that only those who had suffered through love could understand. Even Rosa was vaguely aware of the possibility that she had been deceived. However, if she was able to succeed in paying back the loan, he might acknowledge her usefulness as a wife. When that happens, she might be able to regain that love. If she abandoned that love, this debt, that trial that he had given her, would become completely meaningless. Yes, for her, the debt itself appeared to be a trial of love. Actually, the very fact that she tried to view it that way might have been the blindness of love, proof that she was still bound by her regrets and obsessed with the past. That pain still continued within her. At the very least, it would remain until she paid back that massive loan. And even then, it would take quite some time before she'd be able to lay her feelings for him to rest. Could this be that hell that Kiri spoke of? I see. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but there's no doubt that my world has been hell and hell through and through. And how can that be put to an end? Who knows? If anyone did, no one would ever be crushed by the disease of love. That disease is a serious one. It sometimes eats into a person for their entire life, spreading to and hurting the people closest to them. That disease was torturing her, now as much as it ever had. Well, since you bring up Kyrie, her story is like a wish or a dream. Her story is like a wish or a dream to me. Though she had had her man stolen from her, she persevered for 18 years. She never fell to despair, and instead continued to support Rudolph, keeping her head down, waiting for a miracle. Maria is still 9 years old. I've only waited as long as the first half of Kyrie's 18 years. If I gave up after just this, she would laugh at me. Do you think of a miracle will occur within 9 years? If I doubt that, it's all over. In a sense, I'm a ghost. I'm already dead. I'm just living on without noticing. A ghost waiting for eternity for a person who will never come. That's right. That day when I naively said that I wanted to support his dream, I was probably already dead. Guess that really was a regretful day in the end. I have dreams. I want to go overseas. I'll fly out of this tiny country, make it big, and come back to you. That takes me back. At that time, I thought of lovers as a pair of people willing to acknowledge each other's radical dreams. That's why he would always happily cheer me up by talking about how I'd become a successful designer, traveling to Paris to release a new line and getting jostled by the press. When I think about it, I really had my head in the clouds during that strange time. We both lifted each other up, as though we were drifting about in the air. So when he said that he wanted to get out of Japan, I applauded him and promised to support him. Acknowledging each other's great dreams with nothing but words is a classy sort of pillow talk between lovers. However, when it comes to actually carrying them out, you need to be more serious and calculating. For a long time, I felt proud of letting him go on that day. No, I still do. But you still regret it. That's right. If I had sobbed and told him to stop on that day, I might not have fallen into hell. Seeing him off with a smile was my victory? Of course not. It's as though I lost by default by refusing to fight when the time came. I only glorified that loss, saw him off with a smile as he went off to take the world overseas, and became intoxicated with the illusion that I was some brave woman waiting patiently for a man's return with her daughter. Even though I didn't get a single call from him, and mail sent to the address he'd given me came back forwarding address unknown. This is hell. In this hell, I'll regret not fighting when I should have until the day I die. I even dragged my daughter into it. I wish someone would just kill me. I want to be told I've already been killed, that I'm a ghost. In love, if you do not fight, you'll have to crawl through hell. Yes, love is a fight. Will you win and gain, or lose and die? But please have no fear of death. After all, it is a peaceful sleep. What's truly terrifying is the hell where you'll find the unsleeping ghosts of those who couldn't win yet couldn't die. That hell has no end. The battle of love is cruelest for those who've never even fought, but weren't able to die either. So in love, you've gotta make it or break it. Dying in battle like that is liberating. They say the most torturous toxin for humans is made from love grown stale. The suffering it brings exceeds the tortures of the most twisted hells. She used this knowledge to try and embolden her double and her little sister, encouraging her to take on any trial, no matter how fierce. I understand. After all, when my desire to have Balor accept me one day wells up in my chest, I can feel the seed that resides there. It is up to me to kill that seed or make it bud. However, if I let it rot here in my chest, that poison will surely torment me forever. And that is the most fearsome torture in the world, even for us 1,000-year-old witches. See what happens to those who make light of love! This hell of roses is what happens to those who do not possess the courage to make the seed of love bud, and instead allow it to rot. One cannot end that pain by their own hands. Huh? Just now, was that a red light? Pardon me. Huh? What? Just now? Oh wait, just now I thought I saw something strange. I wonder if I'm tired. It's probably just my imagination. Rosa picked up her cup of cold tea. When she did, she saw a small red rose petal float to the surface. Rose? I've heard that in your youth, you loved to lie on that sofa. It wasn't a rose petal. It was a drop of blood that had fallen from Rosa's eyes. In that instant, Canon had beautifully and precisely cut a single thread of Rosa's life. There was no wound on Rosa's body. However, several drops of blood dripped down from her eyes. Her pain, Her uncertainties and her worries were all gone now. Slowly, she fell down onto her side on the sofa. This had been one of the happiest things she had done during the happiest day of her life. Sleep well, Rosa. Your hell has ended. Canon took a blanket out of the cupboard and gently covered Rosa with it. To anyone, it would have looked just as though Rosa was sleeping peacefully. Those demons had not exaggerated when calling this a trial, a battle of love. It was at least accurate on this cruel but unsayable act, that those who have their love shattered meet with death. Now my part is complete. Did you see that, demons? Damn!
You dare kill my mama! You dare kill my mama!
One of the two great witches of Mariachi Sorciere, Maria. Though she was just an apprentice, the power sleeping within her had impressed even Beatrice at the height of her strength. In Maria's eyes, though Rosa may have been a black witch, she was also the vessel of the mother she couldn't help but love. Her anger at having that stolen away from her was near madness.
You dare to! Mama! Mama! Mama!
Maria's attack was too emotional. Because of this, she didn't notice that Kano had vanished for several heartbeats. She even released her barrage at what had become empty space. In the meantime, Kano had jumped from the wall to wall around to Maria's back. I don't want to kill my quota. I don't want to kill past my quota, but I'll clean up the messes I've made. What are you?
Diplomatic immunity! I won't let you target Mario or me!
Damn! The red curved blade extending from Kanon's hand vanished in an instant. He tried hard to make it reappear, but when he attempted to use it on Maria and Sakutaro again, it vanished once more. Because of Sakutaro's power, he was unable to make use of either of them as the targets of his attacks.
There you are! How long have you been there? I won't let anyone bully Maria!
Damn it! Maria finally noticed where Kanon was. She slowly turned around. Kanon made his sword materialize yet again. But no matter how often he tried, it kept fading out like a flashlight with a bad battery.
I won't let you get away now. I won't forgive you for the sin of stealing my mama away. I'll kill you. Just like Mama killed all of them. I'll kill you without mercy.
As Maria howled, the entire parlor was surrounded by a cube of red magic barriers. It was a closed room symbolizing a barrier that Kanon could never escape. Damn it! Not here! Kanon cursed his bad luck. Even though he had fulfilled his goal in the demon's trial, if he was killed here, he'd be dragged off the game board.
Maria, don't overdo it. Yeah, I won't overdo it. I'll be a little more gentle than Mama was. Who is it?
Pardon me, Maria. In accordance with the contract with Zippar and Furfur, I've come for your life.
Shannon, don't get in my way! It's pointless, Shannon. I won't let anyone target Maria.
Yes, I don't intend to target her in any way. I'll simply protect myself. A cylindrical red magical bear surrounded Shannon as she stood in the center of the parlor. She made its brightness and thickness grow. Its rays suddenly expanded, filling up the room. It wasn't targeting Maria. Its power was being wielded to protect Shannon's body, so Sakutaro's power didn't make it disappear. Nei-san.
Would you let your feelings for Milady collapse in a situation like this? Get a hold of yourself!
By the time the shield with Shannon at the center had been covered up in the entire room, its power crushed Maria and Sakutaro into the corner. Ironically, they were perfectly wedged between Shannon's barrier and the closed room barrier that Maria had set up to prevent Kano from escaping.
No good! Can't escape! I see. This is a closed room. This might be perfect for that wannabe detective who's trying to deny Beato's magic.
Checkmate, Maria. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, it's fine. Crush me.
Then here it comes. The entire room was filled with the red light of the shield, and the output and pressure were raised to the limits, then crushed between the shield and their own closed room barrier. Maria and Sakutaro lost their forms, scattered into a golden splash, and disappeared. Thank you. I couldn't afford to disappear here.
If you lost in a place like this, you wouldn't be able to let it go.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up if I lost in a place like this.
Separ, Furfur, we've both finished our trials. Is that satisfactory?
Yeah, truly splendid. No complaints for either of you.
Then shall we finish with Beatrice's turn?
Oh, where did she go? To the victim she's chosen, of course. Then let's go there as well! It is so fun to play them. Natsui could be seen in her personal room. Kraus had told her to go to bed, but she couldn't afford to lie around sleeping on an important day like this. No, go to bed, Natsuhi. Fuck this family. However, she realized she was the type to get excited easily, and that sometimes she held her husband back. So, though she didn't like it one bit, there was no other way around it. It was probably close to the time for the break to end, and the family conference would once again begin in the dining hall. Her husband would have to protect the Ushinomiya family honor from those greedy siblings all by himself. If she grew emotional by his side, she would just tie him down. Though she knew that quietly waiting here was the best way she could support him, that didn't make waiting any easier. Natsui pulled a small treasure box out of the drawer. This is her secret box. Inside was everything from valuable items to mere rubbish. However, they were all precious, memorable treasures in Natsuhi's eyes. She put a small pouch out of the box. She stuck her hand inside it. It was the kind of charm her own family had given her when she had married, a spirit mirror to ward off evil. Her own face was reflected on it. Youth doesn't last forever. Recently, she'd seen a bit of her parents and grandparents on her own face. A nightmare for me. So by staring at her own reflection in the mirror like this, she felt as though her soul had returned to the family she'd been born into. Dad, Mom, I've always been so ignorant and unable to support my husband. Of course, her face in the mirror did not answer. However, Natsui continued. I wait here alone because I love my husband. However, I think love means being close to one another. Though I understand logically that staying here is the best way I can help him, I still feel wretched for doing it. It's tough, isn't it? Waiting for the sake of love. With a plop, a tear fell down into the mirror. Old dear memories of her life at her parents' house rose up inside of her. Now was the time for her to follow her parents' example. When her father came home late, her mother would always sit up waiting straight for him, prepared for him to arrive at any moment. She'd always wait for him, kneeling in the entrance hall. And no matter how late he came home, she would always wake up all the children and line them up to greet him. At that time, I only thought of her as being exceptionally strict. But at this age, I finally understand how strong she was, persevering in her love for her beloved husband, even after being left in charge of a house while he was out. Because of your love for your husband, you couldn't bear to be made to care for an unfamiliar child. The sudden voice made Natsuki jump up and look about the room. When she did, there was a Western lady wrapped in an extravagant dress. Who are you? Natsuki was confused. There was no one like this in the mansion. However, though this was her first time seeing this person, it felt as though she had seen her somewhere else. Her mind had gone blank with anger at the ruffian who had snuck into her private room and confusion over the appearance of someone she didn't know. So it took quite some time before she realized this was the witch of the portrait. Though you murdered a baby you didn't know about on the day 19 years ago, I will not hold that sin against you. What are you talking about? Beato had chosen Natsuki as her sacrifice. She was Balor's enemy. Beato didn't know much about the details of Balor's birth. However, she knew about the fragment of the previous game, and knew there was a chance that Balor was the baby that Natsuki had pushed off the cliff 19 years ago. Balor had used this blue wedge to protect Natsuki from certain false charges. If he took it as confession by Balor himself, then, from Beato's position, Natsuki was an enemy who probably forced Balor to live a painful life. You killed that baby who lacked your husband's blood for the sake of your love for your husband. So, also for the sake of love, I will not hold it against you. I don't have a clue what you're talking about! Get out! This is my room! Therefore, please do not hold it against me when I kill you for the sake of my love. Beato slowly stuck out her arms and made as if to grab something in empty space. That grab bound itself around Natsuki's neck. Natsuki's heels lifted up. A faint purple shape appeared around her neck. Natsuki frantically scratched at her neck, trying to stop whatever was strangling her, but there was nothing there. So to an outsider, it looked just as though Natsuki was standing on her toes in anguish, scratching at her own neck. Both pairs of lovers have shown their determination. I do not think that my love for Balor's is inferior to theirs. Just as I will not blame you for your sin of 19 years ago, I will not blame myself for this sin. As Natsuki twisted in agony, something she had been grasping fell from her grip. Since it had fallen by her feet, Beato dropped her gaze to see what it was. It was Natsuki's spirit mirror. When she peered into it, there was the sound of a burst of electricity. That sound released Natsuki from the invisible hands, and made Beato topple backwards like a doll. Coughing, Natsuki tried to comprehend what was going on around her. Beato rolled over and dizzy, as though she had just bumped her head. She slowly tried to stand up. Her eyes were bewildered, as though she didn't really understand what had happened. What? What is this? That is surprising. You could touch spirals without trouble, but you can't handle the spirit mirror. Even I don't have a clue what's happening. What in the world? She had thought that only Beato the Elder possessed non-human weak points such as getting burned by spiral webs and wards, and having her powers sealed by spirit mirrors. However, for some reason, the spirit mirror alone could apparently affect Beato as well. Even Beato couldn't understand what about the spirit mirror had such an overpowering effect on her. But Natsuki was different. She instantly realized the reason for the hesitation of this unearthly being, the witch of the portrait, must be the power of the mirror. So she rapidly crawled across the floor and picked it up. She stuck it out so that Beato could see it. Beato still didn't know what was happening. So still sitting down, she looked straight at it. And this time both of them understood the situation completely. Beato realized that mirror was working some hateful power against her, and Natsuki realized the spirit mirror had the power to repel witches. Why is the mirror? It's because you're an evil witch. This miraculous spirit mirror repels all creatures of evil. Don't point it at me. With the spirit mirror still held out, Natsuki cautiously closed the gap between them. She was cautious as to prevent the others from suddenly lashing out and stealing the mirror, but she steadily moved to corner this evil. I do not know who you are. All I know is that you tried to kill me. And I know that you are a creature of evil, fearful of the spirit mirror. Be gone, evil one! Beato didn't understand what was happening herself. She didn't know why she had to fear this spirit mirror. However, when she tried to look at the bright light let off of the spirit mirror, it pierced her eyes. Though she didn't understand why she must be afraid, she did understand that she must be afraid. By now, Beato realized the spirit mirror was both terrifying and harmful. As it came closer to her, she felt an increasingly strong and painful burning sensation over her whole body, as though someone was approaching her with a hot iron. She couldn't even open her eyes because of the spirit mirror's bright, painful glint. Go, return from the world whence you came from, evil one. I, Ushiramiya Natsui, do not fear evil in the least. It's no use. Why? Why is this musty mirror so... If I lose here, I'll be the only one to fail this trial. Just like George and Shannon, Jessica and Canon, I also want Valor to acknowledge me and treasure me. And even though I finally managed to be honest with myself, in a place like this, I alone will be...
Are you giving up? Only you?
Believe! A miracle of love will surely occur! I love Battler. I want him to notice me, and I want him to acknowledge and accept my feelings. If my reason for calling him father and dedicating myself to him was out of duty toward a parent of mine, I would have been satisfied with no reward. That was a deception I used to fool myself. I love Battler, and I want him to acknowledge it. I accept it. I won't turn away any longer. I was born because I love Battler, and I want him to love me back. And so, I cannot lose. Here. Be gone, evil one! There's no place for you here! Her determination had come too late. If she had from the start, she probably would have managed to finish Natsuhi off right then without any fear. Because she had wavered, it had taken time to kill Natsuhi, and things had ended up like this. But now I am resolved. I want to love Battler. I want him to love me. And so I cannot lose here! After all, I was born for Battler's sake! Yes, that is
what we wanted to hear.
Just like the sound of a beetle banging off the walls filled the room. The spirit mirror was knocked out of Natsui's outstretched hand. It fell to the floor, and the stake flying around the room pierced through it with a crash. Lucifer of Pride right here! You dare mock me by choosing a single old mirror to be my first target in so long?
Huh? Lucifer?
Beatrice, you must complete your trial. She's getting away. Someone! Help me! Someone! Now that the spirit mirror, her last ray of hope, had been smashed, and the number of strange demons had increased, Natsui could do nothing but run for it. However, she made a scene and people gathered. The anti-magic toxin would soon burn Beato, and now was her last chance. Thank you, Lucifer! Prepare yourself, Ushiramiya Natsuhi! Once again, Beato choked the thin air. This time, she wouldn't let her escape. She had to end Natsuhi's pain right away before it got too drawn out. But her power wasn't enough. Though Natsui scratched at her neck, she also struggled to escape from the room. Her shaking hand stretched out to the lock on the door. A closed room is one of the concepts that allows a witch to be a witch. Just unlocking the door strengthened the anti-magic toxin a little. Since Beato was at her limit even within a closed room, if Natsui undid that lock, Beto's power would have weakened immediately, and Natsuki would surely escape into the hallway. Their strengths were matched. However, Natsuki's began to surpass Beto slightly. The power of the living to live is fundamentally stronger than the power of magic. Of course, Beto was mustering all her might. However, Natsuki was just a bit stronger. That's enough. Lucifer, do it. As you wish! Lucifer transformed into a stake, and like the time she had smashed Natsuki's spirit mirror, flew violently around the room. Then she struck Natsuki's forehead. Natsuki crumbled slowly. When Beto saw this, she also fell to her knees, breathing hard.
Hey, Zepar! Does this count? Beatrice didn't complete the trial by her own strength alone, right?
That's right, Furfur. True, this trial must be accomplished without borrowing the help of any other.
But maybe this is an exception!
A pair in love are as one! This doesn't count as help from outside!
But, Battler...
Did you really have to scare me like that as soon as the first twilight?
My apologies. Sorry I didn't listen to your instructions.
Instructions?
Well, I didn't stay in my room.
Beto hung her head apologetically. When he saw this, Battler scratched his head uncomfortably. In that case, I should apologize too. I should have chosen my words more carefully.
No, you did nothing wrong, Father. I mean, Battler.
It's okay. Call me whatever you like.
Huh?
Battler had always looked at the new Beatrice sternly. However, that was gone from his expression now. True, the old you may have called me just Battler, and at first I might have tried to force you to speak to me that way. But that would be pointless. You are Beto, but you're still you. You can call me whatever you want.
But, Battler...
Sure, that works great. Can't say being called father is really my thing.
Yes.
Earlier, she had hesitated to just say Battler's name at all. If Battler had told her to say his name without honorifics, she couldn't have done so right now. And even if she had, that might have hurt Battler even more. Oops. Oh well, I should have used the honorific. Too bad. I'll just re-record it later. However, now she was allowed to call Battler by his name. He just had to look into her eyes to see how happy this made her. I heard from Zepar and Furfur. It seems a strange game has been started.
Yes. Sorry for getting involved all on my own.
No problem. That reckless way you leap in before you understand is really like you. And, well, I've heard about the theme of this game. Apparently you're supposed to play it in pairs. Yes, that is correct, Lord Battler!
If you can succeed in winning through our trial,
we will bless the pair of you and bestow a miracle of magic upon you! It seems these guys have been giving their power to Beto's golden butterfly brooch. That means its effectiveness is guaranteed. We've been stuck with each other for a long time now. Nothing wrong with playing this sort of game every now and then.
Battler...
Oh, did you hear that, Furfur? It looks like Lord Battler is joining in as well!
That's no surprise! After all, we've known since the beginning!
Welcome to our trial, Lord Battler! So, who will your sacrifice be? I've already done my part. Go and check if you want. Very well, Lord Battler. Come, Furfur, let's go check.
Yes, let's! But Zepar, this means that all 6 lovers are succeed in their trials, right? What should we do next?
The resolve of all 6 is the real deal. Let us test them further in the next trial. The 2 noisy demons disappeared. They apparently left to go check on the sacrifice Battler had killed. And also so that Battler and Beto, who could finally look each other in the eye and talk, could have some time alone. What do you think of the tale so far? When suddenly asked this question, Angie immediately came to her senses, as she realized she had been immersed in Hachijo's tale. She felt a bit defeated and tried to look displeased. You cleverly tried to distract us with this love trial stuff. But exactly 6 people have died setting up the first Twilight. Impressive. Oh, you're right. I hadn't realized. Amakusa clapped his hands as though he'd been outsmarted. Even though he figured it out before me, he played the fool. That's simply because the number of lovers happened to be 6. The fact that it matched the number of the first Twilight was half coincidence, half design. It's a bit more interesting that way. Feels more like fate. Humans have the bad habit of taking two meaningless phenomena and trying to link them together. Trying to make things seem like fate is a trick of the books. Guess you aren't a fan of Destiny and Miracles, lady.
Me neither!
It's like UFOs. Everyone knows about them, but no one has ever seen them. That's a cool metaphor. So, normally I'd try to skip over all the love and illusions and call them unnecessary, useless scenes for the mystery. But Okanogi disagreed with that way of thinking. He thought that by looking at things without love that way, the truth would never be reached. Ah, you mean President Okanogi's catchphrase, without love it cannot be seen. Yeah, that. If I put aside my anger at the person who killed my family in a story, and even speak with respect for Madame Hachijo, the one who wrote this tale, there must be a point to this deception. After all, she's used up all these pages talking about love and trials. In other words, those are the themes and keywords of this tale. Uh-huh. And there are many who claim that all words not written in red ink are not worth reading. It is an honor, child of man, that you have read the black letters as well. Stories are written because the writer has something they want to communicate, and some writers feel that it's unrefined to lay everything out too directly. All this about how you'll never reach the truth without love has shown up many times in the works before this one. This new work makes that even more striking. It means that this is the one thing the writer wanted to tell the most, the thing they want us to think about the most. When you think about it, there have been many scenes about love ever since Beto first appeared. Even the first time she appeared before Shannon, she spoke clearly about how love was a single element of the world, and the golden butterfly brooch that she'd given was also an item for love. She also said that she enjoyed sowing seeds of love and watching complications arise, and when Shannon stopped borrowing her power, the reason for her argument was also love. After her interactions with Balor started up in full scenes about how love were toned down for a while, but without love it cannot be seen. Definition of magic has been mentioned repeatedly. Then the tale right before this one, when Beto became like a doll, several scenes made it seem almost though Balor and Beto had accepted each other as rivals or possibly something more. In the end, Balor had regained some memory and his impression of Beto had undergone a complete change. And then in this game, from the beginning until now, the word love has been repeated over and over again. The tale you wrote keeps talking about love. However, that's not Maria's viewpoint or Beatrice's viewpoint. It's Hachijo Toya's viewpoint. Correct. That is what I want to tell. And it is my own sort of answer. Answer? Then all the crimes 12 years ago were a trial of love started by strange demons? Ridiculous. I didn't come here to read a romance novel you wrote. What I want to know is the truth that you claim to have reached. Foolish child of man, after reading all this, do you still not understand? With an obviously condescending gaze, Hachijo shrugged. It was clear she was trying to provoke Angie. She was probably hinting that Angie should just go home if she was annoyed. If you're going to read my noble work and not even attempt to see whether you understand it, then get out. Normally, Angie would have already thrown a fit and left. However, she couldn't do that. Though she didn't like someone else toying with her family's fates in a story, she was growing increasingly certain of something else as she read through it. Just as Hachijo's followers said, this tale really does have the same presence, the same scent as the tales written by Beatrice. The author was certainly different. However, because it reached to the real truth, it had the same scent, and she was beginning to acknowledge this. Hachijo Toya was the one who reached Beatrice's truth, an endless witch like Beatrice who could add to the endlessly stretching parallel worlds of the cat box. If one has reached Beatrice's truth, they can create a new tale whoever they are. With this new manuscript, I'm sure someone besides myself will appear and reach the truth. Those people will be qualified to create new tales of their own. So there will be more and more endless witches. Yes, and these many endless witches will add to Beatrice's catbox tale. The more they add to it, the more people will reach the truth. When that happens, the very first endless witch, Beatrice, will finally be rewarded for writing such long letters, packing them on balls, and throwing them into the sea. You might have yelled at me angrily and risen from your seat. However, you did not. Why? I hate to admit it, but I'm starting to think that your tale has some kind of truth or hint within it. I already have my own ideas. However, that's no more than looking with a single eye. Unless I accept a different point of view from my own and look at things from more than one angle, I'll never be able to see the truth in 3 dimensions. That's my interpretation of without love it cannot be seen. Very well, child of man. Perhaps as the fallen survivor of the Ushinomiya family, it was fated that you would find the truth and become an endless witch. I exist only as a guidepost to awaken you as the true successor. Angie Beatrice. Sometimes I don't understand what she's saying. However, she knows something. And maybe she actually has reached the truth as she claims. In other words, I didn't learn the truth even after reading the 2 message balls Beatrice left behind. And now I'm reading tale after tale filled with hints. So these hints are challenges provoking me to think. Indeed. Perfect. I'll find this truth you say you've reached. It's a good thing I came here. That it is. I invited you here because you hadn't found it yet, child of man. Let the truth I see and the truth you see overlap. Just as you see things with a single eye, so do I. Now that I've found you, I can finally see the truth. Hold on. Let's see the truth I see and the truth you see overlap. Just as you see things with a single eye, so do I. Now that I've found you, I can finally see the truth with both eyes. I'm sorry I went on a giant tangent.
So the first twilight has finally happened. Everything so far has made me so sleepy.
You have some sleep in your eye. Huh? Where? Mind your own business. As you wish. Let's begin. First off, the first twilight. Okay. Nothing yet. Alright. Goodbye. Ha! Yeah, that's an important way to think. It's kind of like, why is the reason that anyone writes anything? Because a story, like anything like that, it's a form of art. Don't think of art as just like something to entertain or something that's just there to look pretty. Because one of the things I learned when studying art is like, art, no matter what form it takes, is a form of communication. Art is a form of communication. Okay? Some people just don't get that. Like, there's a message that you're supposed to think. Like, what is the intention that the artist wants to do? In that sense. No matter what form or what movement it takes. Even if it's absurd or something. There is a point to it. Okay? That you're supposed to think in that sense. Even if it doesn't make sense. It's eliciting a reaction out of you to get you to try and think about it in that sense. It is a form of communication. Okay? And that's a way to think about art, no matter if it's dance, whether it's the typical art you think of, whether it's stories, entertainment, anything. That is something that I learned. So when people dismiss any kind of art and then be like, well, it's just no, okay? Why is it that people have always, they make something, there's things they want to convey. It's a message. There are things they want to communicate. It's so ignorant when I hear people like be like, oh, but no, okay? They want. There's a reason behind things. So, some people, even if they make stories and write for fun, which is kind of my thing, I like making up some random, absurdist, out of character fan fiction where people are just doing nonsense. Even that is to elicit like laugh or amusement or to make people feel, what is it I'm reading? What am I looking at? Okay. Sorry I had to get into some kind of lecture and tangent. It's just that it's something that I'm very, very, very passionate about in that sense. So I get very angry. Like that thing earlier, okay? When I was expressing it in profanity the couple of days ago because I was very upset. Okay? It's just that, yeah. Especially like, it's like you think about the amount of effort that an author puts in or the effort of people who create, they draw, they write a story, or like the effort of thought that came to the decisions and choices that they made. Because people can't just, sometimes some things aren't mistakes, or they're just like, I'll just let it be there. Or like, yeah, some things are just like, it's like, oh, but this is a blank space. But it's still kind of like, in that way, it's a form of thinking or exercising your mind to think about what kind of message there is. Okay? No matter what, art is art, okay? Like, even, you can call anything art, or like any form of things that you could want to communicate, okay? So it's kind of like, whatever, when people are like, oh, this form of art is highbrow or lowbrow, as in like, oh, this is like pop, this is like something that everybody gets. Ugh, that is so below me. Because like, that's kind of like elitism in art, where it's just like, because some people are like, oh, but I want to think higher about like, ooh, or something like that. That's elitist, that's pretentious, okay? Like, it's for everybody. And it should be that way. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't exclude people like that. Okay? That's what I want to say in that sense. I probably would never shut up about it. I'm so sorry. It's not like I'm an expert at this stuff. It's just that it's things that I thought about and things that I learned and things that I want to say about it that gets me really fired up when people... Because, okay, it gets me into a huge mega rant, and I'm so sorry about the tangent that I have to go through, but... Like, when I remember that I had a friend who said that they wanted to write a story, but they're like, oh, but the messages or whatever that they communicate in stories are just stories. It's just a story. It's not real. Or like when I was talking about like what is it that the story wants to communicate, and when we were talking about like anime stuff, and he's like, well, Dragon Ball is just like laser beams and shit, and I'm like, I wasn't talking about Dragon Ball, I was talking about Higurashi. If you actually studied and read the story and stuff, you would know that there is like forms of realism. Just because something is fiction doesn't mean that it is completely separate, because fiction and even fantasy and stuff, all those things do have a foundation in reality. It is arrogant to say that there's no reality combined at all with it. It's like when people say you need to draw with a reference in art. Yeah, I'm combining something. Like they're two different things. They don't seem like they have anything to do with each other, but they do. I'm so sorry I'm going into a random rant about this in the middle of the Umineko stream, but I don't care. I want to say it. Okay? So, yeah, like, They do have things to do with each other. There is foundation of reality within art. You can't separate them and say that they're both separate. You just can't, okay? Because, like, it does matter. I remember I used to be one of those people who would be like, oh, but I'm better than people because fantasy is better than reality because reality is boring because everybody, A, dresses the same because of, like, Western clothing is normalized. 2, like, because everybody wants to be normal in that sense because people don't want to be laughed at or whatever. Or, like, other reasons. It's just like, what was it? Like, and, like, there are a lot of people who are jerks, so that's why that's boring. But you know what? You can't just look at that. You have to look at other things and think about other things. In the sense of, like, okay, if you want to learn how to draw and exaggerate features so you can get stylized forms, because even, like, a style that seems simple, like The Simpsons, like, they have to keep that style, like, consistent, because it's really hard to get that to be that way and stuff. And, like, you need a foundation in reality by studying, like, the human body. That's an example of mixing, even like that. It's not like with stories in that sense, but you're looking at reality and still referencing it in a way. So you can't just be like, I can just do it all from my imagination or whatever. Because that's not how it works. Okay? They are interconnected. You can't ignore all of fantasy, but you can't ignore all of reality. You should look at it like a balance and something that is intertwined and interlocked with each other. I'm so sorry I went into a giant rant about it. It's just, I have a lot of feelings about this, okay? Oh, I can't. So I'm so sorry. I should get on with it, but I just really wanted to express that. Okay? There's always something I wanted to say, but I don't know how to make it concise because I'm really ranty and rambly and tangenty, and I'm really bad at that. But that's just something I really wanted to say. Because I'm writing my own story, and of course I know I've taken a long time because I've been reading Umineko and Higurashi over making my own episode. I know that. And those are all other personal problem stuff, but that's something that I really wanted to say. And like, and like going through like Umineko, like it's something that when I first read Umineko, I was like, or consumed Umineko, like by watching it through the anime or whatever. I was 15, okay? So, and then I was finally able to read the visual novel when I was like an adult, because like people put it out on YouTube, and then I could actually buy it, and this is my first time actually reading it, like by playing it here. I mean, I've read Umineko a couple of times before, but through free means because I didn't have money stuffs. Like I read through the Let's Play archive, but that is, it's just something that helped for me. It's done a lot for me in that sense of it's even through like classes I take or like through Umineko, it's just a way for me for like a tool for thinking in a sense. Like, I didn't try to solve the mystery because I'm dumb. I am dumb. But for example, like, the way that Virgilia, like, introduces the brawn tubes or whatever, that's a tool of thinking. And, like, for me, I was somebody who was very into escapism, and it's not like you think, like, oh, you don't want to be like those people who are all like, oh, but, like, I just want to believe in, like, fantasy stuffs. Because I'm not really, that's not something that I'm interested in that sense. Is, like, I'm really sorry that I'm getting into a rant in the middle of this. Okay, I'm really sorry. But, it's just, like, I think it's really important to, because, like, I don't want to just block things out and be like, oh, but I hate, like, reality because it can be cruel, but you have to think about it because it does happen. Things happen. Bad things happen. You have to live your life, so you can't ignore that. So, yeah. And it's not like, and ever since I was a kid, even if I did like fantasy, I like knowing everything, which means I don't ignore I wouldn't ignore like sciences and be like, oh, but like, you know how like some people believe in some religious things, but then like they don't like to have those ideas challenged, so they will ignore sciences and stuff, and they don't bother to learn about things. Like, and there are things that they should learn, because if they don't learn them, and if they make laws being ignorant of these things, they can end up hurting real people. So of course, like, I'm so sorry that I'm branching out and just talking and rambling about some random things. But yeah, it's just a lot of things that I think about, and like my brain just connects to all these other locations that or other things that don't seem to relate to one another, and I've never been good at explaining myself or whatever. So yeah, I'm really sorry. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, I don't know. What else do I want to say? Maybe we should just continue next. I'm sorry for this stupid tangent or something. Alright, let's go.